Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this week's intuitive energy forecast. Just a sec here. I'm just grabbing this link and sharing it. I tried to go live on Facebook and for some reason was having big issues. Perhaps something's changed that I'm unaware of. Just a second. I'm going to paste it in one more spot here. And here we go. All right. Where are we? There. Hello, and welcome everyone to this week's Intuitive Energy Forecast. My name's Lisa Lyle, and this is my channel here on YouTube, and I can be found on various social media platforms as Wisdom of the Heart. So, welcome. Today's date is Monday, the 9th of May. Whoo, how are we all doing? It has been a very interesting time, and we are now moving into Mercury retro. And a week from today, we have our total lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. And we're on the other side of the partial lunar eclipse that we had in the sign of Taurus. So how's everybody been feeling? I kind of went missing for a week or so, maybe 10 days, because as we were approaching the solar eclipse, there was a lot of energy coming in and moving through my physical vessel, and we're all feeling it. And I was really guided to focus primarily on self-care and nurturing through the intensity of it all. And what I have really found and what I feel that these eclipses, I'm just going to look at my notes here because there's so much going on. I'm in the thick of editing my book. I'm also just finished creating a 13-week workshop, which is launching on the 14th of May called Womb Wisdom. And if you are interested in that, you can check my website for details. I've just done a big revamp of my website, and I trust it's much easier to navigate, it's a completely better vibe. I'm really proud of the work that I was able to do to streamline that. Because there's a lot, and this is what these eclipses, I feel, for all of us, these eclipses are really, it's blessings of the unknown is the message that I received moving towards this window of eclipses. Blessings from the unknown, from deep within our eternal wellspring. So everything's coming up. And as well, with everything, I mean everything, including our personal as well as the collective shadow. Don't allow yourself to be swept away in the shadow energy, because whatever you are personally experiencing is coming up for you to clear so that you can move beyond the wound, move beyond what is known and familiar into the blessings of the unknown that really flow from deep within your experience. With that being said, we've had a lot of solar flares, M-class solar flares off of the sun. And for highly sensitive people, we often feel it days before it actually hits the Earth's atmosphere. So you may personally have been feeling this need, you may have been feeling like really sleepy, the need to sleep, the need to nourish your body, more the need to clear your energy field within your home, as well as your physical body. And so, making sure, working with nourishing herbs that are supportive to the lymphatic system, because there's been a lot of lymphatic overload, or the adrenal glands have been really bombarded with energy. So I can't tell you exactly what to do, because you have to tune into your physical experience and follow your intuition, because our intuition is on point. at this time, and we are receiving a ton of signs of love and support from the universe. One of the things I was guided to is that our central nervous system has been under attack for many of us since the time of birth. But if you want more on that, you'll have to check out the Womb Wisdom Workshop. And so we're at this point now where it's really about what's coming up is really trauma. And through each of our personal experience, we are here to heal and clear trauma. And so there's a lot going on in the limbic system of the brain, which is the amygdala, the hypothalamus, and thalamus. And again, I won't go too much into that. Those of you who were around maybe a decade or so ago, in the moon circles, I had received vision or guidance at that time of the thalamus, hypothalamus, and the pineal gland in our brain as being a movie projector, like the old school projectors that you had to thread the film around. And so now with this limbic system coming up, I've been guided to make the connection between the limbic system and the sacral chakra, and even lower, the coccyx, the tailbone, that root chakra. And there's a lot of writing that was shared about that in my book, as well as the Womb Wisdom Workshop. In one of the videos, we talked extensively about that because of a couple of clear visions that I had seen, and some things that we can do to support really freeing ourselves from this kind of being yanked around like a puppet on a string, if you will, one of those marionette characters. Um, so what else? What else is there to say about that? Not much. Oh, yes. With this full moon in Scorpio, total, it's a full blood moon, total lunar eclipse. And again, I was guided to write down Scorpio, hidden shame, the things that we've kept hidden in the dark recesses of our mind, of our body. And this really is going deep. And we're going to just focus on this lifetime. What I do believe with absolute certainty is that we are born into this lifetime with the womb, with the wounds of the womb. So the mother, the grandmothers, the great grandmothers, and back 7 generations at least. And so that can be quite overwhelming. What's going to present for us with this total blood moon eclipse is an opportunity to clear once and for all that connection between what I wrote here was limbic / sacral glitch. So there's been a glitch, and in fact, interference, planted and seeded interference into our current human experience. And these energies of this total lunar eclipse are really supporting our spiritual wealth in the material experience. So if you're someone who has long, like myself, have long felt that I was here on a mission for the greatest and highest good of humanity, who felt I was here on this mission in service to the consciousness stream, the God consciousness stream of the collective. Many of us have experienced a lot of interference in our lifetime, as external, and then sometimes, quite often, we tend to get in our own way as well. I'm just going to plug this laptop in because I never know. We tend to get in our own way through this energy of guilt and shame, and if we're not, as we're moving along and as we move through traumatic experiences, if we're not actually consciously clearing the trauma from our experience, we're carrying it around. And that can be quite a heavy, it is quite a heavy burden and heavy load to carry. So in our own experience, in our day-to-day reality, we have to tune in to our intuition and trust the guidance that we're receiving, because the guidance that we're receiving is in support and in service to our greatest and highest good. And however you receive. Um, and then, so this, I was also guided to write that the Taurian energy with the sun in Taurus is supporting the material energy focus is supporting us to shift into our spiritual abundance. So this is what this whole season is about with the Scorpio, and with the nodes in Scorpio and Taurus. Have I got that right? I have got that right. Yes, I have. So we are shifting for those of us who have perhaps had challenges in the material realm in this lifetime. Those of us who are sticking to our spiritual path and purpose. Those of us who have remained in faith, and continue to take action towards our spiritual awakening. And the awakening is always happening, right? We don't just, oh, wake up and then the awakening's done. We're continually awakening. And as we continue to awaken, it's really critical that we don't forget to integrate. So as we clear and heal our physical vessel, there's space created, and for some it can feel quite uh, some can feel quite unanchored. And that's because for a very long time, one of the key components of ascension that has been neglected by those on the ascension path is the process of integration. So we have to allow ourselves time and space to integrate the new energies, to get used to holding the new frequency in our physical vessel, so that we can continue to awaken. It's like blossoming. It's like a flower of life, a flower that continues to blossom and open. And we are those flowers of life. And so if you have been uh, long felt that you were here in service to the greatest and highest good of humanity, it's really time to take practical steps in your day to day to manifest your dreams. I am so super. It's been a long road, and yet this year I've written my first book, and the editing process is taking longer than the writing side of things. I've written a new workshop. I've, done this website revamping, and I have a couple of other projects in the works. And this is exciting. And the one thing I will say that's really shifted is I've moved through a deeper level of healing, particularly in the last year. Lots and lots of healing, lots of releasing, and I've really moved along the path of forgiveness, of others and self. I mean, first and foremost, it begins with myself. And I was holding on to a lot of the lower vibrational energies, guilt and shame, especially in relation to my son. And yet, it doesn't really matter, because it goes much deeper than that. So I guess really, we're at 13 minutes into this, get it out, Lisa. I guess really, if I had to say anything to you, it would be stick to the path you have chosen, stick to the path your heart has chosen, stick to what you have always known. Stick to the things that come naturally to you, that you're good at, that come easy, because this is where our abundance really does flow from, through our ability to show up for ourselves each and every day. Get out to nature. Nature, those of you who have been here for a while, I absolutely love nature. I have been I haven't been out in it as much as I normally would be, for a very variety of reasons, and yet I'm guided to get back out, and to, it's barefoot season again. Got my bare feet. Today's the first day sock free. It's been a little too cold, but here we are. And honor the ebb and flow of your day-to-day life. Honor your ebb and flow. When these days, when I'm feeling great, I really harness that energy and go with it and am productive and focus on the completion of the tasks I have started, the completion of the projects I've begun. And when maybe the next day I'm not feeling so inspired and motivated, I rest. I take it easy. I take the pressure off of myself. And I feel that this is a key component for all of us as we move through these changing times, because we are in incredibly transformative times, and it's up to us to transmute those lower frequencies in our life, transmute the pain, the shame, the guilt, and move into that higher frequency of love, compassion, joy. And I'm using the Native Spirit deck here, and I was going to say this is a message from your ancestors, and what card came out was the ancestors card. So I really feel that this is important for you to know too. You are surrounded and guided by loving, that card flew out. Oh, dream traveler, this is so perfect. Earlier in this message, I had said that, the signs are clear. We're all receiving white buffalo. Peace, peace, peace. It begins within us, it begins within each breath. There's an opportunity for us to move more deeply into this energy of peace. We are surrounded and guided and supported each and every day by our loved ones in spirit, by, ascended masters and angels, and ultimately, our higher self as eternally connected to source. And so, what I'm being guided to say is direct to source. All of us have a direct line to source. Okay, whatever you want to call that source. Let's not get into all the nitty gritty that like humans like to do. It's divisive, it's distracting, and it's in essence a large waste of our time and energy when we could be focused on creating this abundant new world that we are giving birth to through our experience, our dreams. What are your dreams? I mean, this looks like to me that many of us share the same healing dreams, healing for ourselves, our children, and for the greater good of humanity. And we are truly in the midst of a spiritual battle, and it's not spoken about enough. We just, oh, this country's fighting that country, and this and this. I mean, we're spoon fed these narratives, I assume, because I don't really listen, but through conversations with friends and people that I meet in the community, they all seem to know what's coming, and I wonder, like, where do they know this? Well, they're being told what's happening, and it's like I say, go direct to source. Go into your heart, turn off and tune out that other foo la la, because it's got you acting foo la la, right? And it's time to have more fun. And anything I say, I'm not intending to offend anyone. A part of my role here is on the planet at this time is for entertainment purposes. We have to have fun, right? And if we can't make fun of ourselves, and if we can't laugh at ourselves, then we're going to have a hard time getting any jokes. I mean, this day and age with this cancel culture that we got going on, which is more foo la la. I mean, many of the comedians I grew up with in my lifetime would not, they'd be banned. They'd be banned. They wouldn't be allowed to be on your screen or on your television. You couldn't go pay to see them at Yuck Yucks or whatever. So, we have to get back to having a little bit of fun, because right now it's like everybody's banged their funny bone into the wall. And if you've banged your funny bone into the wall, it's not very funny. And that's how everybody's acting. Like they don't have a sense of humor, or not everybody. That's a real blanket statement. That is how, many are acting, and that is how things are being portrayed. Oh, this is so beautiful. Number 26, surrender, the waning crescent 3. And the surrender is so beautiful. In week 3 of the Womb Wisdom workshop, it's called softening. And, there is this softening that takes place as we surrender to the experience of what is here for us now in this moment. And so as we move through this week, I feel that it's very important in your day to day life, surrender into what is present for you in the moment. Don't get too far outside of your experience. Bring your experience back to your heart space. Bring your experience back to your bare feet on the earth. Bring your experience back to your belly and your breath. And as we surrender, we create an opportunity for flow. And I'm going like this because I'm feeling like floating in the air. Excuse me. I'm going to have a sip of water here. Surrender into flow. Number 26 comes to an 8. Surrender into the eternal flow of abundance that is your divine birthright. We each have a sacred divine birthright. And it's about each of us embracing, opening up to the fact that, as a sovereign being of light, as a creation of source, here to co-create with source, abundance is indeed our birthright. And it's time for us to move away from these lower density energies, guilt and shame, that keep us playing this perpetual game of never enough, whether it's time, money, resources, friends, family, food, whatever, into this space where we surrender into the abundance that is our birthright. We surrender into the wisdom that is innate within us. Oh, it's a number 22, master number 22, standing on our own 2 feet. Um, this I used to, so we don't really reduce master numbers. I'm just seeing the number 4 here, and I'm guided to recall when I used to see 4 as stability, right? The foundations, the stable foundations. I don't quite see or feel it that way anymore, because what the our current constructed experience, reality, um, matrix that we're living within has been constructed. And so what we're seeing now is the crumbling of these foundations that were built on lies and deceptions, and really with the intention to enslave humanity. Ensnare is the word I'm hearing, like a rabbit, one of those oh, they're so terrible, those traps that catch them, snare them. A snare that snare them. So terrible. And this is what has happened to all of us. And so I feel like the foundations are anything in your experiences that is not built on truth and integrity. You may have a bit of a tower moment this week where it comes crashing down, because that is a part of the process to rebuild. Look at her. Wow, she's in a rowboat on a pile of books. I'm going to write a pile of books. It's so exciting. She's on a rowboat on a pile of books. She took a ladder to get up there to the books, and she's reaching for the moon and reaching for the stars. And I really feel guided to say, reach into your heart this week. Connect more deeply into your heart space. And if you've got some uncomfortable feelings coming up around guilt and shame, see if you can work with the energy of forgiveness. I've been calling on our brother there, Jesus the Christ, a lot recently, and through the process of, I could really cry. Um, call on Jesus, talk to God, talk to your angels, talk to your higher self. Forgiveness is the gift that you give yourself. And in essence, it is the gift from which your blessings flow. Okay? This this could just like honestly, I could cry. And this is from the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. I haven't used any of these decks. These decks are not familiars to me except the Native Spirit one. And it was a random bunch of decks I was guided to bring here. So this most recent card is from the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, well, the Native Spirit. The Wisdom and the Surrender card are from the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and our last card will be from the Journey of Love Oracle, which is a beautiful, beautiful deck. But this could we have gotten a bigger blessing or more confirmation with this card? Another two. So now we have 222, which is a six. We don't have any other sixes down, but that's a six. Yeah, six. And six has really shifted. Six, we can begin at our essence, our physical experience, our health, our home, the house of Virgo, on that Virgo and Pisces axis, which is really this heaven on earth axis. And we have here now access to heaven on earth if we choose. It's not going to be created by an external source. We are the seeds of light who are here to grow our heaven on earth experience, right? Because heaven is for the living. It's not just after we leave the the flesh, the meat suit. I know some people get upset when I call it a meat suit, but it is. But this card is the High Lord of gratitude and service, selflessness, humility, conscious action. And that's really confirmation of what I was saying. It's like when, each day, coming at each day with a grateful heart, beginning your day in a ceremonial way that supports you in moving through your day. And as you move through your day, honoring what you are experiencing and in feeling in each moment as you move through the day. And when you don't have any more to give, step back. And, I've had some real beautiful lessons of that in the last couple of weeks because I really had intended for the book to be out before now. And there's been some uh, issues along the way. And perhaps one of the biggest issues was that I got a little bit ahead of myself, very excited, and got a little bit ahead of myself and ended up creating a little more work for myself or a lot more work on this side of things. And so I was like nose deep into that for 7, 8, 10 days. And had a lot of different experiences move through in that time until finally last Thursday, this beautiful blessing came from my beloved in spirit form. And it was like, take the pressure off of yourself, Lisa. It's okay. And so I have, and it is okay. It's actually more than okay. It's a great blessing to be present for myself each and every day. And it's the same blessing for all of us. I really look how happy that little uh, Buddha guy, like a Tibetan monk. He looks like a Tibetan monk. Maybe he's not a Tibetan monk, but he looks like a monk. Look how excited that face is. Look at all the light around. And I really feel like everything that's moving, all the energy that's hurtling towards the earth at this time is really in service to the greatest and highest good of humanity. And it's of the highest essence of unconditional love, the unconditional love of source. Okay. And that source resides within us. We reside within source here in the present experience, as well as eternally in this now moment beyond the experience of the flesh. I hope this hasn't gone too convoluted for all of you. I really hope it hasn't. It feels all like um, really awesome. So look at this, and I have to giggle at the coloring of this because we see a lot of flags flying around this color right now. And let me see if I have it close, because now that this card's come out, maybe it's the time that I'm meant to show you guys. Just a sec. Just a sec. Oy. So, what I'm going to show you, I didn't recently make it. What I'm going to show you, I made about 5 years ago. Frank was alive. And I got on this kick of making God's eyes, and I hadn't made them since I was young, in school or camp. And so this is the first God's eye I made 5 years ago. I haven't seen it in almost as long, because it was tied up in one of my plants, which was a massive plant, which I happened to not intentionally kill. Hello, Anne from Scotland. Nice to see you here. So I made this about 5 years ago. Anyways, the plant grew up around it. During the winter, the plant wasn't doing well and ended up dying. And it was sitting in my backyard. And on March 2nd, 5th, something like that, I was outside and I see this blue string hanging out of the plant. It was either March or February. Whenever this became a common flag that people were waving, uh, this had already become, like, it was out there by a day or 2 days. I'll have to go back. I wrote it down. I just haven't shared it yet because there's a lot going on. Anyways, when I found this, we all know what flag this looks like, right? And when I found this God's eye, what I heard is cutting the head off of the snake. And so this is what I mean. Like, it's like we've been, puppets on a string. The TV tells us something, and all of a sudden, that's it. That's it. That's it. We're all on this bandwagon. And we end up looking like a bunch of foolalas. And most don't have a clue as to what the truth is. And so this is where we are. We're at this great revelation, if you will, and it begins within us. And so to receive this card as the last card, it's like the similar colors, right? So Spirit's telling us something. Spirit is wanting us to acknowledge the truth that we know in our bones, not what we're told, not what we're shown, not what we're conditioned to believe, what we know deep in our bones, right? We know what truth is. And we can either choose to disregard or turn away from what truth is. It does not change what eternal truth is. This card is a number 24. So again, it comes to that 6 energy that we were talking about, honoring your path and service. What is your purpose? Why are you here on the earth at this time? I'd say you're here to shine. You're here to speak truth. You're here to uncover and discover your personal truth and come home to your personal power, which is source given, God given, and gifted. And this is a holy hour upon the planet. Hour. I say that loosely because, time's not real. Time, beyond time and space. And this says the spaces between worlds. So what we see here is very limited when we connect and when we remain connected to our higher self, source. Then we're able to see from that. I'm seeing a 360-degree perspective, or a hawk. I've been seeing a ton of hawks and falcons these days, seeing life from a higher perspective, seeing ourselves and our experience from a higher perspective, the players in the game of life that we have participated in, seeing them from a higher perspective. And from this higher perspective, we're able to work with that energy of forgiveness. We're able to move onto that spiral of blessings, the blessings from the unknown. And we really have to be willing to go deep into our experience. I'm looking down at the womb, and lots of hand motions, but we really have to be willing to go deep into our experience, because the truth is we are all miracles, and miracles unfold and happen each and every day. And I feel like what they're asking me to say right now is, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on yourself. Don't, because it can become easy for us to slide back into habitual patterns, right? Like when I realized that the book got messed up because I put it in external hands, sooner than I should have. Anyways, it's a lot of issues. I felt so, I was so sad. I was so sad, because the whole month of April went by, and I'm no further ahead right now, except I am, and with a lot more clarity. But I almost gave up on my book. I almost gave up on my dreams. And I heard a big no, no, no. No, absolutely not. You are here to do this, and you're going to take a break, and you will continue on with it when you're feeling in a better headspace, right? Because when we're in our headspace, I mean, when we're feeling in a better headspace, I would just say when we're in our heart space, because when we're in our headspace, it's like, oh, it can be so discombobulating and discouraging, and the mind distracts us. And another thing I will say before we finish up here today, as you move through these coming, especially this coming week with Mercury going retrograde, I believe tomorrow, and then the total lunar eclipse a week from today, pay attention to how you're feeling, and begin to tune in more clearly. You're a receiver, right? Yes. Tune in more clearly. You're right. Divine timing is at play. Thank you, Anne. Um, it's like a little cheerleader just popped in here today. Thank you. Um, it's nice to have external cheerleaders all the time, because I am always, advocating. I'm being my little cheerleader. And anyways, there's a lot of interference at play, is what I really wanted to wrap up and say. There's a lot of interference. And if you're a bright, shining light, if for all of us, for all of humanity, for all of the children of light, we are here to shine bright. We are here to be our unique and wonderful self, weird and wacky, delightful, and perhaps a touch insane. And we are here to experience joy and play in each and every day. And there's nobody in the world that is going to do that for us. We have to do it for ourselves. We have to believe in ourselves. And as a result of believing in ourselves, we know that we also believe in humanity. And there is great hope. It may not seem it externally. I don't know, because I don't look external, just out my window. Um, I feel this great hope and this great excitement for all of us. And I would say to you, as we wrap up here today, this is saying the spaces between the worlds. And what I would bring it even closer to home for you is that space between the inhalation and the exhalation. Get comfortable in that space. And it's sometimes an uncomfortable space to be in, isn't it? Get comfortable in that space, for it's like the void. And as we exhale, then we release and let go of the heaviness and the density, and then there's a pause again. Get comfortable in that space before you allow the natural process of the next inhalation. We are supported on a myriad of levels. We are supported. Um, oh, yeah, they want me to get back because I get sidetracked. Make sure your space is clear. Working with shungite, working with darker crystals. If you're feeling, there have been, and I don't often like to talk about it or focus on such things. Psychic attacks are real, folks, and they can have a tremendously detrimental impact on our energy and our experience. And so I have found that there have been amping up of some of this energy around, which is why for some people it will be really good to check in with your boundaries. How are your boundaries doing? How is the shield? How is the force field of light around you? Are there any leaks in areas where your energy is seeping out or someone is creeping in to your energy? Um, if you're a highly sensitive person, you'll feel it, and it doesn't feel awesome. It doesn't feel awesome. But once you know, then you can take your power back and you can fortify your field of light or your force field around you so that others aren't able to get in and infiltrate your space. So, with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll be back in touch with you soon. I'm sending you so much love, light, respect, and gratitude. Until next time, take good care.